Hello, my name is Ilia, and I was a New Yorker all my life until as of 2 years when I've retired now to North Carolina. I'm a registered nurse. I was working at the hospital on 9/11, and from a television set in the intensive care unit, I saw the towers being attacked. It was confusing, and only when the second plane hit did I realize that we'd really been attacked. The feelings that immediately incurred were the tremendous loss of life, and that I, as a nurse, somehow needed to help. The tragedy was, unfortunately, that they didn't need my help, and the other nurses that worked with me. We were devastated. We were angry. The feelings of hopelessness, the sadness was overwhelming. I lived in New York and obviously met and knew people at that time whose families and friends were affected by the losses. A friend of mine lost his son, regrettably, a newlywed, having married in August, and here he was gone September 11th. It was absolutely horrific, as you know, for so many people. People's lives were shattered in an instant. I had been spared my own personal grief of someone close to me, not a son or a daughter or a brother or a sister, what have you. But I was not spared sorrow in knowing that my life would also change forever. I had visited my daughter a week before in North Carolina, and we flew down from New York. I'm never a relaxed passenger when I fly, but ever since 9/11, getting on a plane creates in me a tremendous amount of anxiety, and my goodness, I just cannot forget those airplanes that day. Always fascinated with flying. After all, what keeps these gigantic birds up in the sky? But there is always that which gives me a great deal of sadness whenever I board a plane, thinking of those whose lives perished on those planes on that day. What did I feel? I felt love and tremendous respect for those who went to save lives that day. I prayed and worried about their welfare. I was afraid for our capital in D.C. and our New York governor, our mayor, our leaders. I was afraid of those I knew who'd been working there, near there, and those I worked with who had family and friends at the towers. I couldn't feel prouder and awed by the people who thought nothing of themselves but to help others. The impact this has had on me is to feel a great deal of vulnerability as an American, that we in our country are no longer safe. I am fearful even of, every time I go back to New York, riding a subway, a place that I had teasingly said to my out-of-town friends and family, you know, I'm proud I know how to live underground because the subway system is so vast and exciting. But now it gives you a different feeling. The constant fear of something happening on an airplane, and the embarrassment that we have to be checked so thoroughly when we board a plane. It makes me feel truthfully imprisoned, and we've seen all these horrible news situations of people being somewhat, as they put it, molested and so on. But the security and freedom is what we're trying to preserve, and that's somehow gone. The Twin Towers are no longer. It's not fair. It's not right. Anyway, I've retired to North Carolina, and in my heart, feeling that in a way that I'd abandoned my scarred New York City. I am here because I have a daughter with a great family, and it was financially better for me and my husband. But I know that the entire nation feels this tremendously. I'm angry that there appears to be a lesser spiritual regard for what has happened, and I've really given this a lot of thought. Is it because people feel there was a God who chose to ignore seeing all that was happening and would not come to our aid. And so perhaps this has given people maybe a feeling of saying, it's okay. I don't need faith anymore. So why bother? The omission of prayer and keeping God out of it, the out of it mentality, let's say, it really sickens me. I know this great nation was founded on God's grace. The mistakes we've fought to rectify, and we have fought here and abroad to make things better. I know many feel it's not necessary to call upon a higher power, but when Lucifer was an angel, having been given free will, which is God's grace to every one of us, I think, there's a choice. And the choice is choose good or choose evil. And we see this in our world. I feel we need to be vigilant. And the many Lucifers that existed in the past, like Hitler, Mussolini, and all the current dictators of this world who govern themselves with self-interest, the egomaniacs, the grandiosities, the selfishness, the destructiveness, and blind to a creation that only an omnipotent being could really create, and obviously has done so out of love, because it is that blessed love that drives us to happiness, to hope, to gratitude, to faith for all we can do, be, and give. It is that real feeling of love that makes the Spirit incarnate and aware that those souls who lost their lives forever exist in love. And so I think maybe the greatest lesson for me is to persevere, keep on loving, keep on believing. We have a great nation. We will triumph. Thank you.